In our last update, which was right up there last Wednesday, I was still bearish on Bitcoin and wanted to see lower prices. Overall, I had one level to the upside and one level to the downside, but what I said was that we didn't even have to reach that resistance to drop lower. And what happened if we go over to the charts? We got the drop lower without reaching my resistance, which was this one around $73,000. So with that said, as usual, before we dive into today's price action and what you can potentially expect next, let me quickly recap what I did. So for anyone that's new here, I have been short and chill since $74,000. So it has been about 2 weeks right now, I think. I still haven't taken any profits on this short position because overall I believe that Bitcoin will break below $60,000. Okay. But once again, going back to the last update, we did have a support below around $67,000. But when we got the drop into it, what I said was that personally I wasn't interested in longs because I believe that we would drop to $65,000 tomorrow. Okay. I sent this on Thursday, as you can see right there. So I believe that price would drop into 65,000 on Friday. And what happened on Friday? Well, we did indeed get the drop to $65,000, as you can see right there. So that brings us onto Sunday, where I did my live stream. And once again, I had two scenarios this time. I know usually I have one scenario, but right now price has been a bit choppier than I expected. So I wanted to give two scenarios, okay? The first one, which I personally expected to play out, but as you can see, no trades were offered if this plan played out. But personally, I wanted to see a straight drop to the downside. Once again, if anyone is new, what is the logic behind this scenario? It's because my higher time frame plan has almost fully played out, right? The top part has played out. That is that I wanted to see a move into $75,000. This plan was literally outlined 2 months ago. I wanted to see the move into this area. As you can see, we got it right there. We got the high time frame imbalances. We got the reverse to the downside. So personally, overall, I just believe that Bitcoin is ready to break below $60,000. But once again, this didn't play out. And the second scenario that I gave, okay, let me add this back. I'm not going to say that I predicted this bounce, but the second scenario that I gave was that we would make a new low. Okay, that was the low at the time. That was the low on Friday. We did the live stream right there. I want to see one more low into the range low at $65,000 to then see a bounce to the upside towards $70,000. However, I didn't really dive into this resistance, which is what I want to do in this update, because once again, I didn't really want this plan to play out. It did end up playing out, and personally, unfortunately, because I'm so bearish, I just didn't take the long position. Bit of a mistake in hindsight. That's the second week that I gave the right support and didn't take the long position. Last Sunday, we gave 67.7. If I show you the level once again, it was this 4-hour imbalance. It offered the support. I didn't take it long, and it did offer a bounce. Exact same thing this week. I gave the support, I gave the scenario, and I didn't take a long position. So I do need to be a bit more objective sometimes. Even though I'm bearish on the higher time frames, these supports are still valid and offering reactions. But in any case, with that said, what can you expect next? Well, today we do have the new monthly open, but also the new quarterly open, which means we have the monthly and the quarterly pivots. The monthly pivot comes in right above us. It hasn't been tapped yet at $69,300. Okay, as you can see, we haven't tapped it yet. And if we go to the quarterly pivot, what you will see is that this one comes in a bit higher, around $73,000, which is around the resistance that I outlined in the last update. So with that said, we can kind of start to get an idea of where price could go to in the future, and we can start to form somewhat of a plan based on these pivots. So on the lower time frames, okay, will price move towards 73 this week? I would say it's heavily unlikely. At least personally, I would be surprised. Okay, once again, the invalidation for my short is above $76,000. Even if we move towards that resistance, to me, it wouldn't be a very big problem because I would still expect a reversal to the downside. Anyway, locally, what do we have? Well, on the 4-hour, we definitely have this 4-hour imbalance, which would come in at $70,800. On the lower time frames, we do have another smaller resistance that you could be aware of. So I'm going to put this one in dashed because it's a bit of a weaker level, just so it's easier for you to see. And this one comes in at $69,900, so $900, so pretty much at $70,000. Okay. With these levels, I think I would like to see like maybe one or two things happen. The ideal thing for me is that we get a bit of rejection and a move up into this resistance. If we want to reach it, of course, that we get the move up next week, not this week. This week, I think it's too late to get that move. It's still possible, but personally, I don't really expect it. So what do we have to the downside? 12-hour. We have a 12-hour imbalance. I'm going to take this one. And on the 4-hour, if I fix this, on the 4-hour, we have a wickless candle right there. So I will take the open of this candle. On the 1-hour, you could take a small area, which is what I'm personally going to do. And that would be my support pretty much around $66,500. Okay, so I could see one of two things happening. The first one is that this level acts as a resistance today, and let's say we get a bit of sideways price action today, we come back up tomorrow into Thursday, Friday, and then we get the drop into the end of the week into the support. Okay, if that happens and we get the support, let's say on Friday or even during the weekend, then yes, I could see price making its way up towards $70,800, which could offer a rejection next week. Or else, if we break that resistance once again next week, then we could get that bigger move into $73,000 and then get the final rejection to the downside. Okay, so I think something like this would be fairly interesting to get, right? A bit more chop. I think people are getting a bit excited. Once again, we have an hourly imbalance on the 30 minutes. We have a 30-minute imbalance right at the high. We have another 30-minute imbalance right on this job. So I think that people are chasing the longs on the first sign of a pullback. So I think if we chop a bit more, get one final job, that would stop out all of these late longs one last time, and then potentially get the bigger bounce towards $73,000. Okay. So a bit of a recap. I don't want to make this too complicated because we do have 3 levels this time. Usually, once again, I just give 1 or 2 levels, but price is being way more choppy than usual. And overall, personally, I have seen my setup play out, which was at $76,000. So right now, while we are in the middle of the range, it's a bit harder to predict price action. In any case, a quick recap. We have the weekend coming up. Let me remove this. We have the weekend coming up in just 3 days. Okay, it's already Wednesday, and I don't think price is ready to make it to make its way up towards $73,000. So with that said, with the support below, a wickless candle on the 4-hour, on the 1-hour, and the 12-hour imbalance, it would be fairly interesting to get maybe a bit more sideways price action right here to waste time until the end of the week to then get that rejection to the downside, a bounce next week. That would be your first resistance, which could offer a rejection to the downside. Or else, if we break that, look towards $73,000 for that final rejection lower. So overall, one final thing I want to say, personally on the higher time frames, I still heavily believe that Bitcoin will break below $60,000. And if that is to happen, we cannot break this high at $76,000, just in my opinion. Personally, I am still short from $74,000. My stop loss is at entry. I'm keeping it there. I haven't taken any profits. So once again, even if we move into this resistance, for me, that wouldn't be a big problem. However, if we break above it, that would be a fairly big sign of strength. But once again, overall, I think we could get a bit more chop than I personally expected. We have 2 levels right here. This one is definitely a much stronger level. This is also a strong level, but doesn't have to get reached. In any case, you get my point. So with that said, as usual, if you guys enjoyed this update, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.